Hello, I'm Tim Durham with Durham's Bee Farm, as in Durham, North Carolina. I'm going to talk about feeding your bees. It has really changed in the last few or several years. Right here is an entrance bee feeder. You slide this in the entrance and you put your jar in the feeder like this, and the bees crawl underneath, get the syrup, and go back into the hive. If you have this entrance bee feeder and you want to use it, do not set this on top of the hive. When you do that, all the bees in the neighborhood will come and feed out of it. Plus, it will possibly get robbing started. Now, I'm going to show you the revolutionary way to feed your bees. It's cheap, and keep this in mind. You can take this just like this and set this on top of the frames. This will serve as holding the jar up. So we'll kind of talk on that a little more here. Now, another bee feeder that people use for years. This is an inside frame feeder. You take a frame out of the hive and you put this in there. I won't go into detail. Now this one, maybe you can tell it's warped. Years ago they didn't make them this good, but the way I'm going to show you to feed your bees beats this all to pieces. Plus it's a whole lot cheaper. Now, you also, there are also top feeders that you can put on top of your hive. They're expensive. The way to feed your bees is get a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and cut it the width of your hive and the length of your hive. Now if you want to cut a little extra and let it hang over, that's no problem. Maybe the water might drip off more. Get a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and you cut it the dimensions of your hive. So when it sets on top of the hive, it's the same size as the hive. Now, you can start out with one hole. In the center of that plywood, cut you a round hole where a canning jar lid will fit in that hole. And all of you know there's a rim. There's a rim on the bottom of this lid. Of every canning jar lid, there's a rim there. So cut your hole the diameter of this lid so it will fit down in the hole, but this rim right here will catch. It won't fall through. And that will be just perfect. It will hold it up enough off of the frame so the bees can crawl underneath here and suck out the syrup. This is a syrup jar, like syrup comes in the grocery store. It holds about 1.5 quarts of sugar syrup. Now, when you fill these up, in the springtime, you put warm water if you have it. You fill this half full of water, and then you pour sugar, granulated sugar in it till it fills up. Now, in the fall of the year, that's what you would want to do. In the spring of the year, like now, you could put more water in here and less sugar. And that will keep them from starving, and it will kind of activate them, kind of get them going. Now, in the wintertime, you put your piece of plywood on there, and you fill this half full of sugar, the rest full of warm water, stir it up good, and then you turn it upside down and put it in that hole on the plywood. Now you can have one hole, or you can have 9 holes in there. So in the cold weather, you can have 9 holes in there and only be using one hole. You don't have to cover the other holes up. But let's say that you fill this, you put sugar syrup in there in the wintertime, and you want your first hole in the center, because most likely that's where your cluster is going to be in the wintertime. It's going to be in the center. They can get to this sugar syrup any day of the year. In the cold winter time, they get to it any time of the year. And it will save them from starving. When you use this feeder on the entrance, when it's, forget about it being cold weather, if it's cool, they cannot get to it. If it's cool weather, they cannot get to this. But the plywood feeder, like this, they can get to it every day of the year. And it's cheap. One piece of plywood is all you need, plus this jar. It's by far the best way to feed them, and it's the cheapest. So you can't beat that combination. When you put a swarm in a hive, usually, let's say you have 10 frames of foundation, and you take out 5 frames, so you'll have room to shake the bees in there. Get those other 5 frames in there as quickly as you can, like within the next day. If, for example, let's say you only have 5 frames of foundation, and you put a swarm in there, and you think, well, a week later, I'll put the other 5 in there. The bees will start their comb in the void space. You would think they'll start it on the foundation, but they will not. They will start making comb over here where there are no frames. So you need to have your 10 frames in there at all times. If y'all have any questions, I answer every question. Good Lord willing, I answer every question. Comments, whatever. Down below the video, it has public comment, and you type out your question or comment and send it to me. And there's a I like, click that, and then there's a subscribe. If you click on that, I get a blue ribbon when you click on the I like and the red rectangular subscribe. And I was going, everything's starting to bloom here. We're right next to, we're just south of Memphis, Tennessee, kind of give it, we're in the northwest corner of Mississippi, and everything is starting to bloom. Well, we got some peach trees back on the North 40, so I went walking back there to check on them, see how pretty they are, and they're blooming. And on the way back there, we got a pond. The peach trees are around the pond. And so on the way back there, I heard some girls giggling. You know what I mean by giggling. There's a bunch of girls too. I'm 77. So, anyhow, that kind of made me wonder what was going on. Well, I get a little closer, and I'm telling you, now back in my day, I don't think girls skinny dipped. I think they're more brave now than they were back in the late 50s. But anyhow, I got a little closer, and them girls were skinny dipping. I thought, my. And I'm 77, but I'm still a man, and you know what I mean. But so one of the girls spotted me, and they started screaming, "Go away! Go away! Go away!" And I didn't mention, but I carried my bucket back here because I was going to get some worms, And they were screaming, like they wasn't giggling anymore. They were screaming and hollering, "Go away, go away!" And I said, "Ladies, look here, I'm 77 years old. I'm not interested in y'all. I just come back here to feed the alligators." Listen, they didn't take time to get their clothes. They were over that next knoll. They were gone. And so life goes on. But I figured something out. The government doesn't mind you collecting Social Security. They just don't want you collecting it too long. That's terrible, isn't it? Look here, Sheila just jumped up in my lap. Say hi, honey. Oh, she's a sweetie. She's a mini Australian Shepherd, and she's a sweetie. We love her. All right, y'all have any questions? Let me know, and I'll be glad to answer them. Just go down below and send me your comment, or be sure and tell me where you're located. I like to know where people state or country, and we get comments all over the world. So I like that. So y'all take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay, I'm done, baby.